Hello, everybody. It's the Lawn Gnome, and welcome to your August 2019 episode of Sunday Sit Down, the show where anything goes and nothing gets left behind. And I have to say to you all that I am very excited for this specific episode because I think it's actually going to tackle a topic that we really don't even think about as content creators, because we may be putting videos up for our fans and all the world to see, but we keep forgetting about the fact that there are people that don't really want to be content creators or just don't have the time, but there's still people that just like to watch those videos. And if you all remember my last motivational moment, I talked about thanking the shutterbugs, the people behind the scenes that actually help us grow our channels and just make us the success stories that we are, how big or how small we can possibly be. And my guest tonight is someone who I mentioned on my channel for the last going on 10 years. It's crazy to believe that I've been doing this for now 9 years, going into my 10th year in 2020. This is someone who actually gave me a little bit of his time to create my channel and become your friendly neighborhood lawn gnome. And I thought it would be only right to give him his true credit and my gratitude by inviting him onto my show. So I've got my good friend ever since the age of 4, my friend Alex, also known as Mr. Beagle. Alex, good evening to you, and thank you so much for taking the time to be on my show today.
Thanks for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here.
You came on my show when we had that very long conversation about Warcraft. I still go back to watch that video sometimes. It's great.
I haven't seen it in a long time. I probably should watch it again.
I think you might have a good time watching it. It was definitely a great conversation, and we're going to have another great conversation today. So, as always, I have 7 questions to give to my guest on the show, and the first one, always we begin at the beginning. And my first question to you, my good man, is, when did you discover YouTube, and in what capacity did you interact with the platform?
I will have to admit I'm a bit of a late adopter. I didn't really discover YouTube until about 2006, 2007, which was already, YouTube was around for a couple of years before that. And I just happened to stumble upon it. Prior to YouTube existing, I used to use several different methods for acquiring videos to watch and, my entertainment, not like, licensed stuff. I mean, just independently created stuff. I started with AMVs, anime music videos, and I actually stumbled onto that accidentally when I was just trying to find the video for Guns N' Roses Knocking on Heaven's Door. So the video that I happened to stumble upon was an AMV of that song with the end of Evangelion movie. And I'm like, this animation is amazing. So I looked into that, and I found some friends who showed me other websites that I could acquire some stuff and watch more AMVs. And then I went off to college. I continued with that. I was still using LimeWire. So legitimately. So I kept with that. When I graduated in 2006, I came back home and I continued looking for new videos. And then I'm not sure exactly the circumstances, but I got into World of Warcraft, and the new expansion was coming out, Burning Crusade in 2007. And I wanted to find some videos that showed the previews. For some reason, I couldn't load the World of Warcraft webpage. It was either down or my connection was bad. So I just did some random, I was still using Yahoo back at the time because Google wasn't that big. I did some Yahoo searches, and I see this link and it says YouTube. And I'm like, okay, what is this? And I click on it, and there's this very, very clunky player that took 3 times I had to refresh the page 3 times in order to get it to play, but it was exactly the video that I wanted to see. And so they had a search function. I put in other stuff. I think I put like funny cats or something like that, just like everybody else did on the internet in the early days. From there, I just searched and expanded and searched and expanded. And I actually uploaded a few things of my own. And back then, YouTube had a very, very strict upload requirement. The video had to be a certain size, it had to be a certain format, it had to be a certain bit rate. And being the video professional that I am, I knew I could do that, but it was still a very, very strict upload requirement. Now you can upload anything and they'll conform it for you. Back then, they couldn't. If you uploaded, say, a QuickTime file, which is a .mov, to those who don't know, it would take like a year and a day to process the video. And if you try to upload a Windows media file, it wouldn't even take it.
Wow.
So just toyed around with it for a while, and eventually the site grew. And I think it was about 2009 or 2010 that I became a regular subscriber of channels and watcher of regular videos. Most of the people who I used to watch back in the day are no longer on YouTube, or they stopped uploading, or their content has changed to the point where I don't really follow them. Now I think I only subscribe to maybe about 25 or 30 channels, but what I find very, very interesting is that you don't have to subscribe, and I know this may not be a good thing for you right now, but you don't actually have to subscribe to specific people to find what you're looking for. The AI algorithm that suggests videos to you is so intuitive that when you watch one video, if you refresh the page and go to the home page of YouTube, you'll see 4 or 5 very, very similar videos, or even almost identical videos, just of slightly different content. For example, if you want to watch old episodes or old auditions of America's Got Talent or Britain's Got Talent, which is very, very big now. In fact, YouTube is how a lot of these people are getting recognition. Not so much the live broadcast on whatever channel it's on, but YouTube, the YouTube views. There's this one guy named Eric Chen, who's a magician, and his YouTube video got over 100 million views in 4 or 5 days, and that's how he's being recognized. That, you know, maybe 100,000 people were watching the broadcast live. So it's that power, and it just throws everything in your face. And I kind of like that, because it means I don't have to do anything. As somebody who just wants to sit back and watch videos, that's all I have to do. Sit back and click. I don't have to go searching through subscribers. I do have some people who I subscribe to, and I get the notifications when they upload something, but that's few and far between. Mostly I just rely on whatever's shown to me in the homepage.
Well, you see, I'm glad that you said a lot of what you said. And quite frankly, I think that you gave a massive history lesson to a lot of the people that watch my show, because I'm pretty sure that most of the people who do watch my show, I mean, I've got a lot of people who watch within our demographic group, but also there's a lot of young people. So you gave them a real interesting insight, and I got to applaud you for that. And you're absolutely right. One of the few things that I always say when it comes to people who just want to watch videos, it's a freedom of whatever you want to do. You don't have to subscribe to anybody and everybody. I mean, I do exactly what you do if I'm looking for something specific. I mean, when I discovered YouTube for the first time, I believe that you and I were actually roommates at the time. And I am someone that liked to look for movie trailers, you know, just easy access for movie trailers. I mean, I was using newgrounds.com to see independent animation, which I still do go to from time to time, but it is kind of funny because a lot of that content is on YouTube now. They have the YouTube channels for a lot of content creators who are on Newgrounds. And yes, I was also doing the whole thing with downloading music from like LimeWire, and before that it was like, what, IRC and Napster and all that stuff.
Oh, IRC was like the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, so I discovered this page and this platform for the sake of just looking for easy access to movie trailers. And that was when I started to see, well, what else does YouTube have to offer besides comedic videos and stuff like that? And then when I started to stumble upon content creators, I just felt like that was something that I wanted to do, merely because of the fact that, you know, you have known me for so many years. You know how I like to talk about things and how I like to voice my opinion on certain subjects. And you don't necessarily have to agree with me, but my goal was to just get my voice heard. I was already writing reviews of movies and music on Amazon.com, and this just seemed to be a much quicker paced manner of doing such. And that's basically how I first discovered that I could be a content creator. But when I first discovered the platform, it was just easy access to videos. I really liked that a lot. So we'll move on to the second question, and that is, what was your initial reaction when I talked to you about starting my YouTube channel, and how did you feel about my request with you assisting me in the process?
I was super excited. I was looking for some type of collaboration person to go on YouTube for a long time. And being my initial skill as an editor, which I'm no longer a professional editor. I moved on to other video production positions, but started out as an editor. So I had the tools to help you. And one thing I always preferred whenever I was working is I always liked to do the actual construction. I love the idea of somebody giving me an idea or giving me a script or a format and then having me build it for them. That's what I always wanted to do. And it was a perfect match between you and me. And in hindsight, I might have wanted to do it a little bit more, not aggressively, but a little bit more detailed, a little bit more intuitively. I felt like, and I apologize for this, I felt like I took too many shortcuts and too many liberties with your content and your time. And it was maybe, I mean, this was what, 2009? So
Yeah, no, actually,
10?
no. The first time that we started working together on my channel was actually in 2011.
Really?
Yeah.
Hmm. Oh, you're right. You know what? You're right. I remember because I had just gotten the new job in Chelsea,
Mm-hmm.
and I was working overnights, which means my days were free to help you.
Yeah.
But I will admit that I got a little frustrated with the way it was going, and I kind of took shortcuts. And if I knew then what I know now, I would have put more of my heart into it and really not just done a better job for you, but also given you a better education than I did. I mean, you figured it out partly through me, partly on your own, on your own devices, and I I felt like I would have helped you more had I had more ambition, had more drive, but at the time I did not,
Well,
and I was lazy.
there's nothing to be sorry for. I mean, at that time when I wanted to become a content creator, for me, it was, the quality was a thing that I wanted, but honestly, as a new content creator, I really didn't even know exactly what really was good quality amongst the masses, because to a certain degree, at this time, I'd like to say that when it comes to content creators, especially in the communities that I'm a part of, like the film critics community or the booktube community, these were all communities that were in their infancy. So we were all learning, whether we were the ones that were actually doing the filming or the people that were actually doing the editing. So to be the best that you possibly could have been was not necessarily something that needed to be done at the time. I personally felt that I was being a little bit too pushy because I was also in not the greatest of places. My job really wasn't something that I was entirely happy with, and YouTube was the one of the few things before my wife came into the picture that really made me happy. So knowing that there was a new piece of content that was going to get out there just made me very excited. And I also knew that when it came to the first Gnome doc, I was extremely attentive to detail, to the point where I was actually coming over to your house and actually sitting with you and telling you exactly what I wanted, just because this was a cut above from what I was actually doing. And I've
I
actually
didn't
gone,
mind that.
yeah,
I actually didn't mind that. The way our skill sets work and the way our friendship works, we work extremely well together as long as our goals are the same. So in that
exactly.
instance, we actually did a very good job. And your first Gnome doc, I personally think, is actually one of your best.
Thank you.
And getting back to your question, I've gone on too many deviants here. I was extremely excited, and it made me kind of want to. I've juggled with the idea of becoming a creator a few times. I tried a few times. I just couldn't put my heart into it.
We'll get into that. We do have some questions that are leaning towards
Okay. And
that. Yeah.
it was just, it was just the right time to do it. So I was extremely excited about it, and I'm extremely happy that you've had the success you've had.
Yeah,
And
I appreciate
while I
that.
don't watch all of your videos, I do watch a good amount.
I appreciate that. Honestly, I don't force anybody to watch. I mean, I'm someone that not just enjoys putting out content, but one of the other things that I always say is I'm really someone that wants to be very interactive with my watchers. It's like I would love for people to post comments because every comment
Touch you.
because every comment could possibly lead to an excellent conversation. And if there's one thing that I could say is a massive positive about being a content creator and interacting with the platform is it's made me a very well-aware person of my surroundings. I mean, one of the other things that I was hoping was the fact that when I look back and you look back at this first year on my channel, that you actually gained some skills that you were able to bring to your own personal working world, which I think is a very positive thing. And if it wasn't for you basically saying, Steve, I can't do this anymore, work is much more important, another important thing that I took away from that moment was understanding people's personal space and knowing that I never intended on myself being a massive YouTube star. This was just me doing what I was doing regardless of what was going to be the outcome. So when you stepped away and I decided to start learning how to do it myself, I appreciated the fact that we came to that crossroads because now that I know how to do editing, not as great as someone like yourself, especially with the programs that you use. I just keep it basic because I always say, as long as you are engaging with your audience and you just have a passion about what you're talking about, the famous joke that I have said on so many of these live shows and in my channel is, your channel content could be about underwater basket weaving, which I know nothing about. But if you bring that energy and that passion to talk about underwater basket weaving, I will watch your show and I will watch every video that you post because I like the passion. I want people to show me what they love. And now that I actually have gained all of these skills, I feel that I am a better person besides being a content creator for it. So what happened with us in that first year was so crucial because I think it put us both down paths that where we are right now, we are both in very, very good spaces, life-wise and YouTube-wise to a degree.
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
Just a quick side note, my job gives me access to the entire Adobe Creative Suite.
That's great. I mean, look, I think we can both agree. I think that we can both agree that we do from time to time pine for the days of football goulash because that was fun.
I actually have a bit of a back and forth with a few guys at work in a very, very similar environment to football goulash.
Because I'll tell you, there was a day at work, it was a couple of months ago, I just said to myself, you know what, I'm going to revisit those episodes. And, you know, it's so hard to listen to some of those episodes and not like bust a gut in a public space because some of the things that we said on those videos were just flat out funny and perfectly timed.
And I was absolutely 100% right. I said Tim Tebow would be out of football within 5 years, and he was.
Exactly.
So, I also predicted Zebragate before it even happened.
It was really, really great. I mean, I still sometimes in my head I keep hearing our friend Gary and saying, who thought that this was a good idea? Like, I still remember that. Let's get into the third question, and that is going to be, how did you feel when you first saw the first video of mine that I gave to you fully edited from my channel onto YouTube? Like, what was your overall first impressions when you saw the finished product?
Wow. I got to remember how I felt. It was so long ago. It feels long ago. You know what? It was long ago. It was 2011, which is the same year I met my wife, which seems like a long time. I don't remember feeling any overly abundant emotions other than just a little bit of pride and elation. That's something that I had not just helped create, but collaborated with a really good longtime friend on, was now in public space, which is both good and bad. Good because it'll be viewed and admired, bad because it'll be viewed and criticized.
Yep.
But you got to take one with the other. And I'll be honest, I didn't feel like it was the start of something that was going to go on for so long.
I agree. I will agree with you there.
I thought it was going to be fleeting. I thought that it would be like 9 or 10 videos max, and then it would flame out. Because, you know, even in 2011, which is now 8 years ago, YouTube was pretty big. I mean, there were people with over 100 million, not 100, sorry. There were people with over 1 million subscribers back in 2011. And I just didn't see how this was going to take off. But it did. And I honestly didn't feel that way, but I still felt pretty proud that something we had created as a team was up there in the public space.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you the God's honest truth. Did I think that I was going to be a content creator for as long as I am now? Absolutely not. I mean, I could have probably found another means of expressing my thoughts on popular culture, but I think that it wasn't just that first video, because quite frankly, I've rewatched that first video and it's really nothing special. And that's not your fault.
Did you record on your phone?
No, not that. Maybe it was. I'm not sure how many of them I recorded on my phone, but I think the first one that I recorded on my flip cam was my review of Paul. I think that was the first one.
I have to look back.
Yeah, but anyway, you know, I look at those videos and I definitely see that I had a lot of growing to do in terms of being a presenter. The editing work was probably some of the best parts of the video because it skipped all the dead spaces, all the stumbles, and you really did a very good job in terms of making the flow feel extremely natural. Because one of the things that when I first was a content creator, a lot of people talk about the dreaded jump cut. And do I have a lot of jump cuts in my video? Yes, I do. They are still there today, and sometimes they are flat out blatantly obvious. But you want to know something, my friend? At the end of the day, I don't care as long as my video gets everything that I want to say about whatever it is gets said, and that's all that I truly care about. But I never would have anticipated some of the things that took place on my channel in terms of spreading into different areas of media or also just creating niche markets. I think that my third year as a content creator was a very interesting year because that was the year that I decided to create my 10 for 12s. So once a month, a top 10 list. And then at the same time, I made my once a month video dedicated entirely to Disney films. And that is one of my strongest video groups to this very day. I get so many people who are subscribed to my channel just who comment on those specific videos. So it's nice to know that you have a broad audience, but at the same time, you have a specific niche.
Mm-hmm.
And you are not necessarily someone that will watch everything and everything. You will go towards those specific niches that you connect with. And that's the beauty of this platform. You can be as broad or as specific of a content creator or a content observer as you want to be. And
also, as a YouTube watcher, your niche, your interests change over time.
Exactly.
There was a time, maybe less than 2 years ago, where I was obsessed with car crash videos. Now I have no interest in them. Now I watch Penn and Teller's Fool Us, or I watch sports highlights. Cinematics from video games. It changes daily. So
exactly.
Establishing a niche is good as long as you understand that people will come and go, over time.
Exactly.
And you will get people who return. Like, now I kind of want to watch a car crash video.
I mean, I think what's really funny is when I actually watch newer content creators, some of them get so nervous when they want to try and step out of their niche and try and talk about something else that they like. And quite frankly, that is also the reason why Sunday sit-downs, what we're doing right now, is a thing. Because I felt a want to bring some of the most well-known and some of the most unknown faces in this community to a conversational video like this and give us a topic that we may not talk about on our channels much. So the fact that we actually give their audiences an opportunity to see a different side, because I always say that the more truthful and honest you are as a creator makes you more genuine and real, and that's really at the end of the day what grabs the audience. So that was definitely something that you played a part in regards to my first few videos, really trying to make me look as natural as I can be. But I will admit that I was very shaky in terms of my good presentation. I look at some of those, especially when I watch my review of Captain America, the First Avenger, sometimes I can't even deal with it because it feels so fabricated to me.
I'm trying to remember which movie it was, but there was one review I edited in the early days where I think I had to cut out like 3 minutes of stammering, just to make the video coherent. And by the way, you keep complimenting me, and my head's gonna grow bigger than this frame.
Okay, then I'll stop doing that. How about that? So let's get into the fourth question, and we're gonna fast forward. We're gonna fast forward 2 years after we actually worked together on my channel, and that's gonna be talking about you actually coming onto my channel as a guest, talking about World of Warcraft. Let's talk about that nice little day that we actually had doing so, because I have gone back to watch that video, and I will say, my friend, the time that we spent just talking about this thing that we loved was such a great experience.
Well, the biggest thing I remember is how small that recording space was. We were literally shoulder to shoulder to fit in the frame.
Yeah.
But I thoroughly enjoyed that. I love, believe it or not, I love being on camera. I love being in front of people. I'm extremely social. My dad says I should run for a political office because he calls me the mayor, because I can just go up to anybody and talk about almost anything. But there's two problems with that. One, I hate politics. Two, I can't think of a second problem. Okay, there's only one problem with that. I hate politics. Anyway.
Okay, so the second problem is you trying to figure out what the second problem is.
Is that a problem?
It could be if you make it.
I'll make a note of that.
That'll
be on my next campaign.
There you go.
Well, as you know, I have tried to go. I mean, I said we'll talk about it later, but I have tried to make myself appear on camera. I really enjoy talking in front of people, as you can tell by my elongated responses. It just comes naturally to me. I've always been a showman. I've always been an extrovert. I used to love performing on stage. I love to do karaoke. I'll do it 5-6 times before the next person even gets the first try, because I have no shame when it comes to that. If I embarrass myself, I embarrass myself. I sang Metallica while plastered drunk on the subway like 3 a.m, and I didn't care. It just comes naturally to me. My whole family's like that, and it's just something I thoroughly enjoy, especially with something I not only know a lot about, but something I've got a real passion about. It's waned in the last couple of years, but I still play the game. Not often, but I still play. And the overall experience it made me feel like a real contributor to not just the community, but especially to your channel, because you invited me. You wanted me on there. You thought that I would be a good spokesperson to talk about a subject that you yourself used to have a passion for. And I was honored, and I wanted to give it my best. So I put on my best game face, literally, pun intended. And I went for it, and it just flew naturally.
Yeah, and I think that was also a landmark for my channel in general, because having you on the show with me really gave me the wanting to get more involved in the community and really try and interact with other people. I think that that was what really triggered my wanting to collab a lot more. And I remember, I think it was that exact same year, or maybe it could have been the year after, when I actually found the film critics community and was invited on a content creators live show for the sake of talking about movies and debating about movies and actors and stuff like that. And that was also when I had first discovered the whole concept of the live streaming. I didn't really know how to do it myself, but one of the few things that I did want to do is I turned my 10 for 12 into a collaborative effort. And like you said, I wanted to make sure that the people that I got on board with these collabs were people that loved this specific topic just as much as I did. As a matter of fact, I had you join me for one of my 10 for 12s when I contacted you and a whole bunch of other collaborators to talk about a topic of underground or unknown somethings, and I gave you video games because you are a video game person. And that video is another video of yours that I love to watch. It's fantastic. But the best thing about doing this talk show, again, and all the other collaborations that I do that are live streams, I just love working with other people, and I just, to me, it's a selfless act. I love bringing myself to my subscribers and to new people, but I always say to myself, you know, this is not going to be just good for me. This is going to be good for the other person that I'm working with. This person's going to be showing my watchers and their watchers something different, and I just want them to continue to grow, because there's a lot of negativity in this space right now. I don't really know what the causes were. Some people could say it's politics. Some people could say it's political correctness.
I mean, people need to rub some Ben Gay on themselves because they're just too sensitive.
There's the dad joke, everybody. Your dad joke of the day.
I actually have an idea for a movie called Dad Joke, but I'll tell you about it.
Oh, yeah? So I feel...
You'd like it. It's a stupid comedy.
There you go. Oh, well, no, actually, a stupid comedy, we can't even get into this conversation. I barely watch comedies anymore because I think they're so terrible. But the point that I was making was, when you have the ability to allow people to connect with others, and for the sake of getting others to just be comfortable in their own skin, I feel that it's not just advantageous to somebody like myself with this idea. I just feel that I want good people on this platform, because, as I said, there's negativity, but I know that when I connect with people that I really like, we talk about this stuff all the time, and I want to work with these people. These are the good people, the positive people, the people that want to see positivity in the community, people who also want to eventually pass the torch to a whole new generation of content creators, which I will eventually be doing very, very soon. I've already started planning phase 2 of my channel, and I'll be glad to share that with you at another point in time. Maybe before
really hope it's better than Star Trek phase 2.
Yeah. So the 5th question that I have for you is, at a point, you did actually try to be part of the YouTube community to become a content creator. You even joined my little community known as the Friday Five. So talk a little bit about that and the sacrifices that you had to make, and did you feel bad about the fact that you weren't able to stick it out in the long run?
No, not at all. First off, almost every single video I posted got flagged for copyright infringement, so
Oy.
that was a big thing, even though I had the disclaimer and everything. This is going to sound really bad, but the reason why I joined the community is because I needed to make extra money. And it was only after I joined the community that I learned that since the years past, when I first started posting to YouTube, they changed their monetization rules.
Oh, yes.
So that it's possible for someone new to get started.
Yeah, you have no idea what the atmosphere was like. I think that was last February. That's February of 2018.
I think so.
the whole community like was on its head. Some people were literally thinking about just abandoning their channels. I, for one, happen to have been lucky thanks to my DC animated universe Gnome docs, because those videos have over 10,000 hits each. The first part is actually close to 200,000 views.
There you go.
And right now, my Ninja Turtles Gnome doc is skyrocketing in viewership. So I've got all the requirements.
Yeah, so that was my reasoning behind it. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I had to make it simple enough for me to do in the very little spare time I had, because I had an hour and a half commute to work each way. I had, at the time, a almost 2-year-old running around the house, and a dog that I had to take out and walk. And my mother-in-law was very near the end of her life in losing a battle with cancer. So there was a lot going on, and I tried my best to just find something that I could do that I was good at, that I knew how to do, and try and make a little bit of extra bucks by doing it. And it just got to the point where I didn't enjoy doing it. It was too much work. I ended up being behind in the deadlines that I set myself, and I ended up not caring about it. So in the end, I just did a very, very quiet 48-second silent video saying goodbye.
And you know what? I've talked about that on my channel a great deal. The minute that YouTube starts to feel like a burden and not something that you enjoy, just leave. You've obviously discovered for yourself that this may not be something that you want to do. I mean, I've been talking a lot about this specific year. I have started to become very frustrated with YouTubing, just because, now as a first-time homeowner and a whole bunch of new responsibilities being given to me at my job, there are just some days where I'm like, oh God, I got to go film this video. And I mean,
as a first-time homeowner myself, I'm learning that owning a home is like having another child. Because it requires feeding, it requires dressing, it requires maintenance, it requires attention.
Yeah, but it's like, because of the fact that life has really been full force now, it's even gotten to the point where, my financial situation, I'm watching those numbers every single day. I can't go out and see 5 to 6 movies a month now. I have bills to pay. I've got to be very, very careful with what I'm spending my money on, because I want to have food on my table. I would rather have a fully stocked fridge than a pocket full of ticket stubs from all the movies that I saw. And to a certain degree, that's a little bit of my decline right now in my subscriber base, because most of my videos are not providing my audiences with anything new. It's either the Disney movie, the movies that I didn't see in theaters last year that I'm watching now for the first time, the old movies that I'm seeing for the first time, and my updates, and maybe a Friday 5 and a Funko Pop update and all my other monthly stuff. But it's not me going and talking about the newest movie in theaters. And quite frankly, especially this year alone, there's a very little amount of movies that I actually wanted to see in theaters this year. The last movie I saw in theaters was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because it's Quentin Tarantino. But I don't intend on seeing any movies in this entire month of August. The next movie that I'm going to go see on my own is It Chapter 2. I just read the book for the second time, loved the first movie. I've got to see the conclusion. So
Speaking of which, I actually have a new classic movie for you to watch.
Oh, yeah?
It's called The Mouse That Roared.
Oh, very
Peter
nice.
Sellers. That's all you need to know.
Well, I just watched Thelma and Louise for the first time, and I'm just going to give you a little bit of a tease. I'm going to get a lot of hate in the comments.
Oh boy. One thing about video uploads, and this is a little trick to anybody who's watching. Shh, come here. You can use YouTube as your own personal cloud for free. Mm-hmm. Upload your own videos if you want to save storage space, and just make them unlisted. YouTube cannot legally delete them. you control them. And because you uploaded them, you can download them anytime you want. It's absolutely free and absolutely legal. And if you do get a copyright infringement on one of those videos, ignore it. It's unlisted. Nobody's going to see it.
Well, I got to admit, that's sort of something that I thought about and already knew to a certain degree, I guess. I mean, the same thing is Facebook. You're literally up, it's your own personal cloud to a certain degree. You're putting all your pictures up there.
But Facebook claims rights over anything you upload. YouTube does not.
All right. Well, then let's get into the sixth question. And that is, as someone who doesn't create content, do you know anything about the communities themselves? And is it something that you are personally curious about and maybe even joining to a certain capacity? Because as I said, you don't need to be a content creator to be part of any YouTube community that you enjoy being a part of.
No. Okay. No interest whatsoever. I am on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, and that's enough. And quite honestly, that's too much. I don't have the time to follow community. I'm part of a Facebook group, and I'm actually a moderator, but I barely keep up with it. I just don't have the bandwidth, the personal bandwidth, to know what other people are doing or even care what other people are doing. There's too much in my life that I need to focus on here. Not just in this room, but in this immediate vicinity for me to, it's just too much for me to go off to an online community. Maybe the interests are the same, then that's fine. And I can have minor interactions with them, just, with like, comments and, back and forth. But as far as an actual community where I'm a constant contributor or constant updater or, constantly checking what other people are doing, no, absolutely not.
Well, I think that, something, I think you overthought this a little bit, because what I really mean, and one of the few things as me being a part of various YouTube communities, is that you and I basically use the exact same 3 social media platforms. We both have YouTube, we both have Twitter, and we both have Facebook. So all 3 of them sort of go hand in hand. What I mean is being part of a community is commenting a lot more often on people's videos, actually following them on Twitter, and maybe even starting up conversations and becoming friends. That's what I was saying, because one of the few things that I've known about a lot of people who are becoming content creators now, you want to know what their main purpose is when they make videos and make channels? They want to meet people. They want to make friends, because I joke around with a lot of people that I've spoken to about this topic, and I've called YouTube the place where all of us kids who were outcasts, black sheep, rejects, we all found each other thanks to YouTube. So all of the outcasts are there now. And that's why everybody is like making such incredible friends. I've made so many friends through YouTube that I actually do talk to off of the platform in real life. I've met some of these people. I am actually going to a YouTuber's wedding on the first weekend of September. Who would have ever thought that a platform that was just kiddie videos would end up being this massive social networking phenomenon that has actually built friendships?
My answer is still no. I don't even make friends with people on Facebook that I don't know in real life through another means. I mean, I have some friends on Facebook who I've only ever spoken to online, but I didn't meet them through Facebook. I met them through World of Warcraft, or I met them through an online message board that I really don't partake in anymore. But there's always an external influence for the people who I interact with online. And I'll leave the occasional comment on a video if I've got something constructive to say, or usually these days it's destructive. Sometimes it's constructive. There's a guy I follow who does videos on how to make money in World of Warcraft. It's called Want to Buy Gold, WTB Gold. And I know his last name is Rickles, because that's what he calls himself. And I've left comments that are, helpful to other people, that, tips and everything. I've commented on his videos when I've noticed a mistake, and I want to make sure that the people are getting the correct information, and he's personally thanked me for that. So I have that type of interaction with him and the people who follow him. Very, very rare that I do that consistently. It's just few and far between. And most of the time I'll comment something like, yes, I remember when that, when that happened, I was doing this and I remember it a little differently like this. And then somebody might reply, and that'll be at the end of that. So the overall answer to your question is no, I do not seek out these communities, nor do I wish to be a part of them, nor am I really interested in what they have to say as a collective, because I just want to concentrate on what I want to concentrate on. And I don't like to be swayed, or swayed is the wrong word. I'm not saying these groups have any influence on my viewing, but it's just, to me, it's just a distraction. It's just people trying to interfere, and more often than not, these communities end up being not so nice to people who have differing opinions than they do.
Well, you know something, the fact that that was your answer is an answer that I actually am glad that you gave. And the reason why is because people who are making videos do not even realize that there are more people like you on the YouTube platform than there are of people that are very involved. And the fact that you basically have shown that you are the more common person on YouTube, I'm hoping that this will give them all a better understanding that don't get your feelings hurt if someone is just not interested. People have all the right to like what they like and just be neutral rather than dislike, because I had a friend who's a content creator who made a beautiful video about how she was saying, don't try to become friends with everybody, because not everybody is going to be friends with everybody. It's just the way of life. But if somebody doesn't want to be someone who is closer to you or interact with you, it doesn't necessarily mean that they don't like you. They just are not interested.
Do you remember, after the first or the second football goulash, since you were the one running it, you had this phrase that I'm glad you don't say anymore, but you said this like 5 or 6 times during the whole
Comment, like, and subscribe.
Exactly. And what did I tell you?
Don't do it.
Exactly. Do you know why? Do you remember why?
I don't remember why.
Because saying comment, like, and subscribe in your videos, A, is self-promotion, which is fine if you're actually promoting something, but if you're just saying comment, like, and subscribe, you got to give them something to comment about. You can't just say comment, like, and subscribe. You got to say comment, let me know what you think of this, or comment, do you agree, or do you think something else? And the second thing is, saying comment, like, and subscribe to me is kind of like getting a call from a salesman, a cold call from a salesman. And you go through all the motions saying, no, I'm not really interested. And then the salesman goes and says, and actually I had this happen to me the other day. Salesman goes, I'll tell you what, our policy is we set up a tentative appointment to come and we come and talk to you at your house. You can cancel it anytime, but I just want to set up an appointment. Now, how would you react if somebody says that to you?
Dude, I was in sales for 8 years. How do you think I would do?
Well, then you know exactly.
Exactly.
You're on both ends.
Every single time I get a telemarketing call from someone that's trying to sell me something, I literally get to the point where I'm saying, I was in sales for 8 years. You cannot sell the salesman. Don't even try, because it's not going to work.
There's a great throwaway scene in Boiler Room where I can never pronounce that guy's name. The main character.
Giovanni Ribisi?
Thank you. Giovanni Ribisi, and he's eating breakfast on a Saturday morning, and he gets a call from the Daily News or something, or the New York Post.
It's the Daily News.
The Daily News, and he says immediately, "I'm not interested." And the guy on the phone says, "All right, sorry for your time." And then because he's been doing stock sales, like, wait, that was a sales call? Now give me your best shot. And he goes through everything. He's like, you know what? That was a great sales call. So you got my subscription? No, I already get the Times. Hangs up.
Exactly. But the point that I was getting at was, it's funny that you said exactly what you said about me, because if you watch my videos now, I don't say that anymore.
And that's
I actually say thank you very much for watching. I do, however, say please leave your thoughts in the box, just because I want to talk to people. I would love to get feedback.
Fine. Saying comment, like, and subscribe like it's you know, like you're reading from a script. And I know a lot of these videos are scripted, but they're not supposed to be, they're supposed to look like they're scripted.
Yeah, and it's like I've also noticed that you will get a much more positive reaction from people who just casually say drop a comment to people who say don't forget to hit that like or subscribe button and click that notification bell so you can hear when all the videos. I may have just offended so many people that I watch right now and love, but you're absolutely right. You can't make these videos trying to sell people. It's got to come naturally, and you've got to let people know, I'm glad that you're watching regardless of whether you subscribe or not. But
And
to
you know
get an
what?
opportunity to talk to you would be a great thrill.
You know what? Getting back to the previous question, that's a good reason probably why I failed at being a YouTube content creator. I was going for I wanted people to like, comment, and subscribe. That shouldn't be the reason why people post YouTube videos. You should post YouTube videos because you want to create content. The fact that, you know, the comment section probably was one of the worst things YouTube ever came up with, because it's coercing people into making, you know, instead of making stuff you want to make, you're making stuff that caters to what the masses want. And guess what? That's television.
And guess what I always say to people? I always say, never, ever ask your fans, what do you want to see on my channel? The minute you do that, the channel is no longer yours. It now belongs to them.
Think
And
of it like this. I ask my son every morning what he wants for breakfast. And he'll say, waffles. So I'll make him a waffle. And then he'll say, no. And then I'll say, so what do you want? And he'll say, cereal. And that'll happen like 3 or 4 times. The exact same thing. You're going to create something that you think people want, and they're not going to want it. And then you create what you think they want. By the time you create it, their minds have been changed.
yeah, and as far as I'm concerned, hey, listen, I may not have millions of subscribers. I may only have 1,600. I may have under 2,000 subscribers at this point in time. But you know what? I don't give a rat's ass about what people want from my channel. I just do what I do. And that's all that. It makes me happy because it's my channel. It belongs to me. And that'll go into the last question. And that is, do you feel one day you might want to go back into becoming a content creator? And if it does cross your mind, regardless of whether it happens or not, what would you do?
Honestly, I think my days of content creation might be over. I'll tell you who will be the next content creator will be my son. He loves the camera. He loves videos. He loves performing. He loves to dance. You know, he's only 3 years old, but when he's around people, he takes them a little time to warm up when he's in a big group, but he's the life of the party. He's got this huge smile, and he's got this amazing outgoing personality. He interacts with everybody. He does this little thing like this, and he looks all cute. And I think the children, you know, there's something called YouTube Kids.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going to last. I think that children ages probably 6 and up are going to be the next generation of content creators. There's already a kid who does nothing but toy reviews.
Yes. He's been on the news.
Yeah. These companies just send him toys for free. He reviews them, and he has millions upon millions of subscribers. And he was one of the first. My niece, she's turning 12 in a few weeks. She does makeup videos on YouTube. You know, the next generation is not going to be people our age. The next generation isn't even going to be people in the 20s or even late teenagers, high school students. No, I mean, there are plenty of high school student YouTubers.
Very much so. I know many.
Generation, probably within the next few years, the next generation of YouTube content creators are going to be the children ages 6 and up, and YouTube is going to have to realize this and further refine their content creation guidelines, because there's going to be this is going to open a huge Pandora's box for predators. Unfortunately, I hate to say that, but it's true. These children 6 years and up have smartphones. They know how to record videos. My son is 3. He knows how to charge a smart device. the kids are going to want to make their own videos. They're going to want to post it out there because all their friends watch YouTube and they want to show these videos to all their friends in school. And unfortunately, it's going to open the door to unsavory people trying to take advantage of these kids. It's a very, very dangerous game that's about to be played out right in front of us, and there's nothing you or I can do about it. There's no way, as a parent, I can be so vigilant that I can prevent my son from creating content. It's absolutely his right to create a video. It's absolutely his right to post it online as long as it's safe. And it's absolutely his right, if he has the ability to move forward and try and make something of himself, even at a young age. I can do my best to curate and monitor, but I have to go to work. My wife, she has things to do. There's only so much a parent can do, and I'm not looking forward to that time.
Well, you know something? We have been saying everything that you just said as a blanketed statement about the internet when it was officially available to the masses. Yes, there's a great deal to be cautious about, especially when it comes to young children. And I'm not going to want to give away much about what's happening on the next episode of Sunday Sit Downs, but you should definitely tune in, my friend, because it's going to be very informative, because it's about a lot of what you just said, my friend. But on that note, that means that we are officially done with another episode of Sunday Sit Down, and we're going to close up shop here. So once again, I just want to say, Alex, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with me. This was so wonderful and informative. I really hope that this just gives the content creators of the community a more of an open mind and an understanding of what it's actually like to be on the other side of the video, so to speak, meaning the person that's actually watching as opposed to the person that's actually putting out the content. Everybody, once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys for another great episode of Sunday Sit Downs, where we talk about another great topic, but more importantly, another great YouTuber to discuss it with. Take care, everybody. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.